Sony Vegas, extremely versatile, can do a lot of things, including special effects and green screens. Super hard to use, super finicky. And that like moving clips around in Sony Vegas is a chore in and of itself. So if you're looking to do like higher end stuff, use Sony Vegas because it allows you to do these things. But if you're not looking into special effects, I would suggest looking at other things aside from Sony Vegas, just because I know people who use Sony Vegas, it takes them 2 hours to edit something. Using iMovie, it takes me 20 minutes because it does a lot of the conversion, a lot of like the ease of movement for you. So filters, fades, and transitions. Most video editing programs will have filters built in. Try not to overuse these, same with transitions. So transitions are just like star fade out, or like fade to black, fade to white, blur, cross blur, which is like a blur and then it gets all like jerky with the camera, which is like whoosh, super dynamic. If you overuse these, it might look really weird and cheesy and 80s. Not that the 80s are bad, but it'll look like something from the 80s. Or maybe early 70s, who knows. You might not know what scene is transferring into another scene. So I use them mostly between like scene transferring. So at the end of one scene, I'll denote that with a fade to black. Because that tells the audience member that like, okay, that scene is over and theoretically they've moved. If something big happens, I'll fade to white. So if like somebody gets like knocked out, I'll usually fade to white. If they're like, or if they're waking up, I'll fade to white. Just because that's like, surprise. And then like cross blur or something, like a blur that sort of moves around, I'll use that for motion. So if somebody's running or if something happens really quickly in the camera, then I'll use that because that tells the audience that something's moving fast and coming in.
Yeah, transitions are definitely good for if you're going to completely change a scene, or if you're going to do like a dream sequence or a flashback sequence. A good way of, kind of like telling the audience that there's something different going on than what you had just watched is to use the transitions or some sort of like filter so it looks like a dream sequence.
And in terms of your camera placement too, just looking at this picture, so this scene was filmed on a slight angle. You can see like we aren't perpendicular to the floor, perpendicular is that way. Wait, parallel to the floor? Not perpendicular to the floor. We're not floating. We're not parallel to the floor because this is like a moment of impact. This is a moment where like Draco's falling on the floor. So we wanted to skew the camera a bit. So they're called Dutch angles, and it's where you just cock the angle a bit so things aren't like this way or that way. They're skewed, and this is really good at drawing the eye. It's also really good at sometimes just like making things look less, I want to say like amateur and flat, because even with a turn of the camera, then it puts it on a different sort of angle. For example, if you're taking selfies or things on your camera, almost all of those are not going to be parallel. Almost all of those are going to be Dutch angles because that's the way your hand works. Like it's very hard to do that. Most people go like that. Something Nestor here, just saying. And those work very well for film. Also, you can create certain feelings by changing your camera angle. So if you have a camera on a lower angle, so you're filming, say, behind a person's head and then you're filming up at somebody, this creates a position of power. So that person looming down, it's inferred that they're more powerful. Also, if you switch that, if you're looking down at a person, that infers that they're weaker. So keeping those visual cues in mind. Uploading. This video is no longer available due to copyright claim. Who here uploads on YouTube? If they do upload videos. Cool. Who here uses Vimeo? Nobody. Cool. Who here uses any other uploading system?
Vine, Facebook.
Vine or Facebook? Cool. Sort of. So YouTube being like the overwhelming place where videos go. The issue with uploading all the things we talked about on YouTube is that YouTube has very strange copyright laws, especially depending on where you are. So for example, a lot of people will say like, well, I'll claim it's fair use. Fair use only covers you if you are making something that is not for profit. If you're making any sort of money off your videos, this includes like if your channel is monetized, if you're selling t-shirts that go along with your videos, you can be sued because that's not fair use because you're making money. So if you're not making money, you can possibly be covered under fair use, but not always, because essentially YouTube can just take down whatever video they want if there's been a claim, and to get it back up, you have to go through a long dispute process, or you might have to hire your own lawyer. If Disney takes down your stuff, and Disney is probably the most notorious for taking down stuff, they're really, really sticky about it, then you'd be like you versus a Disney lawyer, so good luck, they will take you down so fast. So just being aware of the music you're using, because even like background music, if it gets sensed by the YouTube algorithm, it can be taken down. So even if you have like I don't know, a Little Mermaid in the background of your video, right? Just be aware that that can be a copyright claim. Also, if you do want to use short segments of stuff, you are allowed to use music if it's for parody. So if you're parodying something, like parody artists, like they use like the Shane Dawson, yeah. Or he'll use the music and then he'll change it, but you have to change it. So this means changing the lyrics. This could mean, well, this has to mean changing the lyrics. You can possibly cover the song, but you can still fall under copyright claim even if you cover the song, depending on how close your cover is, or like whether or not like Sony Music comes after you, because they're really picky too. So just before you upload anything that has music on it, make sure that that music is either free to use, so you've gotten it off of like a free music website where there's no copyright claim, so like they're called Collective Commons, royalty free. Yeah. Or make sure you aren't using music. Also, even with cosplay characters, this can get a bit finicky too. For example, at AX, you are not allowed to win their cosplay competition as a Kingdom Hearts or Disney character, because Disney has said we own those characters. We own the likenesses of those characters. People can't profit from our characters. So if that's able to happen, then you have to be careful around like what else could you possibly be sued for.
We'll mean Marvel characters.
Yeah, Marvel now falls under Disney. Star Wars, yeah. So this doesn't really come to play if you are making money though. That's why for our YouTube channel, we don't... Oh, that wasn't me. We don't monetize any of our videos, any of our channel, we don't make any money off of it, because if we did, then we would be liable for the content that we are using. And we don't want to risk our channel getting taken down or us being sued. And most people who make money off of their cosplay videos aren't going to get sued because they're making such a small amount of money. But like, if the tables do turn, decide to start going after small claims, then you want to be careful. I know folks who sell t-shirts of like the characters they cosplay, and it says the characters they cosplay on those t-shirts. Even that's kind of gray zone. Like everything in Artist Alley is gray zone in terms of copyright. I was surprised when I looked into copyright how much that happens at cons is kind of like, could be possibly illegal in terms of what's being sold. It's a very scary territory to get into, but a good way to save yourself is to make sure that if you are making money off your videos, that all the stuff is produced by you, and if you aren't making money, don't make money.
Another